best practices. 5 things that you are unlikely to go wrong with. Right? So we want to introduce and expound and elaborate upon 5 things that are best practices that would stand us in good stead in a presentation. Like Christmas tree is the best practice at the content level, and the audience level, what are some of the things that you can do. And this, one of the best practices will speak directly to the concerns raised by you yesterday about credibility and sort of build credibility to the audience, and then we take this. The first one, iceberg captain. Captain, please come. Not Jack, not Rose. Come. But the captain. Right, so you've seen that, right?
Yes.
And you remember it well?
No.
So, people here remember it well, they can help you in case you sort of slip up. Right, now, so, captain of the ship Titanic, you see an iceberg at a distance. Right, the captain saw the iceberg in a distance. What is the defining quality of an iceberg? This is a question to you first, and then if you want, you can ask for help to the others. What is the defining quality of an iceberg?
It is like a mountain
Mm-hmm.
and very cold
Mm-hmm.
and white, greenish.
Okay, you want to help him? What is the defining quality of an iceberg?
The iceberg you see only the tip of it. What lies underneath is a mystery.
Yeah? The same thing?
Most of it is hidden.
Most of it is hidden under now.
Yes.
And the central
And it is strong enough.
to break a ship the size of the Titanic. And the central mistake or the central error, the central fallacy that the captain did was what? When he saw the iceberg at a distance in the movie, what was the fallacy or what was the error that the captain committed?
He underestimated
So he underestimated the
size of
size, the impact,
Strength.
the strength, because when he looked at the tip of the iceberg, he calculated what? He calculated the damage that the tip of the iceberg can cause, or did he calculate that the fact that the defining property of an iceberg is that if this is the tip, 9/10 or 2/3 is underneath. So when he was looking at the tip, did he understand the damage that the entire iceberg can cause, or did he only calculate the damage that the tip can cause? What did he do? Right? So, thank you. Does that give you some clue as to where we are heading?
So what you know is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. What you mean is, no, yeah, that's true, yes. But in the context of presentation skills, what do you think is iceberg tolerance?
You know only 20%, remaining 80%.
Right.
Know everything actually.
Yes. When we are speaking, what is visible is the tip of the iceberg in your audience. But you know what? Basis that tip that they are able to see, they are making all kinds of calculations and all kinds of judgment about the depth, breadth, what do you know about the subject, what is it you know about the universe, how set it away, all calculations are going on, all on the basis of what they are seeing. Yes or no? Right now, inside this room, basis what I am saying, are all our minds calculating what this person knows about this subject, what is he about? Are we also looking at other people sitting inside the room, the way they are answering, the way they are talking, the way they are responding, and trying to understand? So, as a presenter, the surest way, or one of the surest ways of building credibility is by building iceberg knowledge. What does it mean really at an operational level? What does it mean to build iceberg knowledge? What does it mean? what does it mean to build iceberg knowledge? So they are able to see the iceberg, that we understood. But what is iceberg knowledge? Plain and simple, iceberg knowledge is this. Curiosity about what? Curiosity about what?
What is the theme of the presentation?
To know more.
Curiosity about everything. Not from a post-mortem point of view, but from an understanding point of view. So, if this is sort of tasting in a certain way, you want to see what is inside it. Right? Why? How does it help? How does this reading, I'll take a very little example, very random example. How does reading about what is written at the back of this innocuous looking Mentos help you as a presenter? How will reading this help you as a presenter?
The next presentation you can use the example like you
Collecting detail anyway.
Right? Please understand, at the meta level, everything is related. What is meta level? I keep using this as meta. What is meta? Meta is another word for macro level. Like there are search engines, there's a meta engine, the meta travel engines which will collate results from all search engines. Right? We've seen this. So at a meta level, everything is related.
So sorry, see, iceberg knowledge is good or that's what we should do?
Iceberg knowledge is,
I mean, is that what
we should aspire for, is what I'm saying. We should consciously strive, and I'm trying to answer that question as to what the iceberg knowledge is. Iceberg knowledge is where you want to learn more about stuff around you. Build a knowledge base on, of course, on what your presentation is about, but also in general about everything, about how that watch works, about how watch is different from a digital watch is different from. So, curiosity in general will build your iceberg knowledge. That's point number one. True or false? If you are curious to understand about stuff, will you build your iceberg knowledge? You will read, you will watch more movies, you'll speak to people, go on to forums, do all kinds of things. That's one. That's point number one. Now, how does iceberg knowledge help you become a super presenter? How? You are able to seamlessly, magically almost, relate what are on the surface unrelated things. Right? So, yesterday, we were speaking about something, thumb rule, and suddenly spoke about Pareto principle. Right? Now, one thing that iceberg knowledge doesn't happen is overnight. It's a long-term process. But iceberg knowledge expands your understanding of things. Right? You are able to speak with gravitas. You are able to speak with credibility. You are able to engage the audience. You are taken seriously. Right? So, right now reading this, I don't know whether we'll be able to use it tomorrow or day after, but you do that enough number of times. Yeah, think about it. Even a stop clock shows the right time. 2 times in a day. So, you do that enough number of times, it will come to your rescue sometime. It's not a short-term strategy, but it's a best practice. It's a best practice. The surest way, the shortest way, the simplest way, the cheapest way, the fastest way. It wasn't there until a few years back, but there is now one resource which can help you build your iceberg knowledge. What would have otherwise taken years and a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy can now be done very, very easily. What is that response?
Internet.
Google, internet, be more specific. Internet has been there for 20 years. There's one resource which is a game changer. Sorry to use that pun. Yes, absolutely. TED. Anybody in this room who doesn't know TED, I'm judging you. Yeah, everybody knows TED, right? Okay, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm not judging you. How many of you don't know TED? TED. TED Talks. Yes. TED. Technology. What else? For those of us who know TED.
Oh, I know TED, but I didn't know that it's an
I
expansion for
didn't know there was
3 months.
a expansion.
Okay. Technology.
Education, development,
Design.
design.
Now, of course, when it started, it was about these three things. Now it is about everything. 20 minutes or lesser talks by total subject matter experts on any subject that you can think. Philosophy, psychology, existential, anything and everything, from how rocks are formed to how should you raise your kids, to what goes on inside machines, to what happens anywhere. Such deep iceberg knowledge. Fascinating, outstanding, amazing. If you can spend 3 days in a week watching one talk, I will go out of this business.
Actually, it's quite addictive. So
Very
start
addictive.
one talk, then you like go on clicking on the link and do next.
Right? So, iceberg knowledge, again, a best practice which has ramifications much beyond just being a better presenter. Right? Iceberg knowledge expands your understanding of the world. And being a better presenter is one side effect, one small side effect. Clear hai? So, how do you develop iceberg knowledge?
Increasing it,
But-
expanding.
Yes, by consciously making an effort that very 60 minutes in 1 week, I want to spend understanding something new. You will become more relevant. You know, this last month, okay, I was away for about 15 days. I was in Central Asia, cut off from everything. I was in Laos, right? Nothing. No internet, no nothing, like, just totally cut off for 15 days. And seeing ancient things, 2500 years ago. I came back and it took me 10 days to really understand that in the 15 days that I was away, the world has gone ahead and I felt like a dinosaur, extinct. That's the pace of change. I'll give one statement, wrap your head around this thought. China has used more cement in the last 3 years. China has used more in the last 3 years than the entire world used in all of the 20th century. The intensity of the change, the magnitude of the change, the frequency of the change are also high. So keeping yourself relevant, at a personal level, it's my biggest challenge. Keeping myself relevant to my audience is my biggest problem. Biggest challenge, not problem, biggest challenge. Because to constantly keep coming up with stuff. So, iceberg knowledge how? By curiosity and feeding that curiosity. If you don't have too much time, TED is a great place to start.
So one more to add to that.
Sure, go ahead.
There are multiple ways. Obviously, each one will prefer certain ways. You shared your TED. There are things like Flipboard. It
Yeah.
uses iPad, iPhone types, and even in Android. Flipboard is a wonderful mechanism to keep updated, keep yourself.
How many people
updated.
know of Flipboard? It's an app, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's an app which collects data on your interest area. So
Right.
you say you want specific mobile phone
Related,
related. It will bring all the latest news to your magazine every minute. You say you want to know education technology, it will bring it in. So you collect all your relevant areas or the interest areas, put it there, and read whenever you can. The other one more source is Google News is a fantastic place You put your interest area like a newspaper there.
Yeah.
You put it there and you can read as many times your work allows.
Yeah. Right. So the idea is, at the bottom of it is, can you make a conscious effort to build an iceberg?
One more related to yesterday what we spoke about in terms of words, right? The right words you use. I would say we all should spend time learning words or learning language. And even it's a very conscious and very dedicated, focused effort, please do that. It's going to help you in the.
No, I know.
Logo is not definitely logo. I think.
Logo is not definitely logo.
Not logo.
Okay, so if you look at Greek history, and Greece is, as I'm sure we all know, one of the most ancient civilizations in the world, across the Roman and Egyptian and Indian civilizations. So ancient Greek leaders believed that if you want to influence people, you want to persuade people, you want to convince people, there is one of three ways in which you can do so. So if you want to sell an idea, if you want to convince people, persuade people, influence people, there is one of three ways in which you can do so. The first is ethos. So ethos is where people will get influenced, persuaded, convinced, because you have great personal standing about the subject, object or person that you speak about. So for example, if an Amartya Sen speaks about economics, the audience may not know anything about economics, but because he has personal standing in that subject, people will listen to him. Right? So if Steven Spielberg comes and speaks about filmmaking, he has great personal standing in the subject, people will listen to him. So one way of getting people to listen to you is to have an authentic, genuine, deep understanding of whatever it is that you speak about. This is admittedly a difficult, long-term process. Right? How many people win a Nobel Prize? A handful. Right? The second way of getting people to buy into what you want is logos, which is, it makes so much logical sense to make that decision, to buy that phone, to make that investment, that it doesn't matter who is persuading, it just makes logical sense to do so. For example, an Apple iPhone. Does it matter who's selling you the iPhone? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. The person doesn't matter. The power of the idea, as against the power of the person, the power of the idea is such. Right? So, for example, look at some of the great ideas which have taken root. Right? So, the idea of the idea of personal comfort and the things that there are in that universe of personal comfort. What are the things that there are in the universe of personal comfort?
Means it adds to the comfort.
Yeah, so the gadgets, the whole sort of that entire universe of gadgets that adds to personal comfort.
Phone, TV, car.
Right? All of them, the idea is powerful because it makes your life simpler, easier, sometimes happier. So, one of the other ways, if you don't have personal standing, you invest in a business, you make the decision where the idea is so all-consuming, also powerful, that it makes sense for people.
That's the origin of the word logo.
Logo. Right? Absolutely. The most devious, the most powerful, the most powerfully devious and deviously powerful form of persuasion is that. Because ethos is something that is built over a period of time. Logos is not something that you can get, but pathos is something that is within everybody's reach. What is pathos?
I think basically understanding what the person needs and
So empathy.
empathy
right?
plays a role.
Pathos is manipulating the emotions of people. And in the world that we live in, all forms of persuasion, all forms of influencing, all forms of convincing, the exception notwithstanding, is pathos too. Just look around you. Look at any one ad which is not pathos driven, and I will show you an answer. Drinks Boost beats the mother at 100 meters. Go on to water heater. That's not Boost. I know that's Bournvita. Only
No, that's what pathos is. It's the mother.
that is pathos. What is it? That is pathos. What is pathos?
Joke. That's me.
Go and take shower with a Racold water heater, and you will have a fantastic day. What was that?
Use the deodorant.
Axe, yes! Use the deodorant and well, let the magic unfold. Right? Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. Look at any ad. Remember any ad. Sorry, Chandan. Tell me any one ad.
Fog.
Okay, no, tell me any one ad. Any ad of your choice. Santur, the body soap.
Yeah.
Santur, what is it?
Yeah.
So how did you remember that?
My wife always
Okay, I'll tell you. No. त्वचा को और निखारे संतूर. What are you saying? Drink this milk, it has antioxidants. When did milk start having antioxidants? Probiotic curd. Everything. No real estate developer ever says, this is a home that I built with brick and mortar and cement is my income. This home will bring all your dreams come true. And people living in those homes are apparently so beautiful, they are not even from this planet.
And the homes they give are out of class.
Yeah,
Out of the planet.
out of the planet.
Exactly. Everyone does yoga.
Everybody is doing a headstand. Any ad, nobody is talking about the product. No one versus salt or otherwise is talking about the product. They're all talking what will the product do to you. You're drinking coffee, Deepika Padukone is coming and playing guitar for you.
That real estate ad.
That hit the chord, I think. Suddenly that's
Is
mind
there a
is there. Yeah. Right? So, to come back, pathos is where you use words, media to influence, persuade, convince people to buy into your idea.
So don't you see there is an insincerity in that?
Absolutely. Don't I see? The whole concept is based on insincerity.
So are you promoting that, or I mean,
I am saying there are three ways. My job is to make you aware of it and conscious of it.
No,
So that the next time it happens to you, you see it for what it is. Yeah, go for it.
I don't think there is an insincerity in pathos, except for the fact that in advertisement it is being overused.
Yeah, so
As a presenter, you can still use pathos.
yesterday she used pathos. That was not insincere. A lot of us use pathos. So, as a concept, pathos is not insincere. In the way it is employed very deviously all around you.
Like when you're, like for us when we are selling our services to the school, we ask them what they need and we don't manipulate their need and persuade them to take it. according to the need, we give them. Because again,
That's not pathos, sorry. That's according to the need you're giving them. Pathos is where you're appealing to the emotions in people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when there is a need, that's a very logical thing.
Okay, there they are saying that okay, let me talk from an FMCG point of view. They are
Right.
saying that the brand speaks for itself.
Yeah, so like for example.
Pathos is,
Huh.
I have multiple brands, according to my need, I'm given a brand.
Right. So pathos is now you're a parent. Is there anything more in this world that you want than your kids to grow up as healthy, strong individuals? Now, think about it logically. How much is Horlicks playing a role in your kid becoming big and strong? Is Horlicks the only route?
Okay.
So they are playing into two of your emotions, either fear or
You're again talking from the point
Greed.
of view of advertisements.
hear me out. Pathos in this case, and I'm talking about only advertisements. Pathos in this case is where they are trying to play either to your fear or to your greed. There are only two primary emotions. Fear or you fear that something will happen or something will not happen. Or greed is where you have one or two of it and you want to collect more of it. And advertisements typically say pathos. So for example, it makes logical sense to buy a life insurance policy. Yes or no? Yeah, makes logical sense. Is anybody selling you life insurance on the basis of logical sense? There's this chap who should be slapped in the advertisement who asked his father, what if you die tomorrow? Have you seen that ad? And they took off the ad because there was such great outrage. What are they trying? They are trying to apply pathos in such a devious manner. So, how you sell the product? You can sell it through ethos, logos, pathos.
An advertisement is just one of the ways to sell the product.
Yes. I was not talking about that, and that's agreed. I think that's agreed that pathos is used by advertisers. I was trying to specifically answer the question when you said that you ask your teachers what they need is.